This is PSN Newsrun, streaming exclusively on YouTube.
Hello and welcome to PSN Newsrun. The headlines: INEC rolls out 100 million voters registration in preparation for 2027. Fuel price hike and scarcity looms as NUPENG Strike lingers. And on sport, Super Eagles set for fierce showdown with Bafana. Here are the details of these stories and more. Nigeria's voter roll has grown to nearly 100 million as INEC releases fresh registration figures, with youths making up the bulk of new voters. Marianne talks politics.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has released updated figures on Nigerians' voters' registration ahead of the 2027 general elections. According to the Commission, over 4.2 million new voters have been added during the just concluded Continuous Voters Registration (CVR) exercise, bringing the total number of registered voters nationwide to 99.8 million. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu said the update reflects strong public interest in the electoral process, particularly among young Nigerians who account for more than 70% of the new registrants. Yakubu emphasized that the Commission is committed to ensuring credible electoral rolls, stressing that duplicate entries and ineligible registrants are currently undergoing verification before final certification. Meanwhile, civil society groups have welcomed the updates but urged INEC to prioritize transparency, especially in publishing the segregated data by state and gender. They also called for early distribution of permanent voters' cards, PVCs, to avoid last-minute congestions. As Nigerian inches closer to 2027, the updated figures are expected to shape political strategies, with major parties already mobilizing to capture the youth vote. Marianne Awia, PS News.
Talks between the federal government, NUPENG, and Dangote Refinery have collapsed without agreement, deepening fears of nationwide fuel scarcity as the strike enters its second day. Joycelyn is here with details.
A marathon meeting convened by the federal government to end the nationwide strike by the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, has ended in a stalemate. The closed-door session, chaired by Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Dingyadi, dragged into the early hours of Monday morning at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja. Representatives of NUPENG, Dangote Refinery, and other stakeholders were in attendance. The strike, which began on Monday, was triggered by what NUPENG described as anti-union practices by Dangote Refinery, including alleged plans to disengage thousands of tanker drivers affiliated with the union. NUPENG President Williams Akporeha insisted that the strike would continue until assurances were given that members' jobs were not under threat. He said the union's actions was in the interest of Nigerians, warning that up to 250,000 drivers could lose their livelihoods. Dangote Refinery has denied the allegations, maintaining that its employment policies are lawful and aimed at efficiency. It accused NUPENG of politicizing industrial relations. The federal government has appealed to both parties to return to the table later today to avert further disruption to petrol supply across the country. The strike has already sparked long queues at filling stations in parts of Abuja and Lagos, raising fears of a nationwide fuel scarcity if the impasse persists. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
In a related development, petrol and diesel prices may rise in the coming days as depot closures linked to the NUPENG strike tighten supply nationwide, sparking fresh fears of scarcity and inflation. Joycelyn is still on Energy Talks.
Nigerians may soon pay more for petrol and diesel as petroleum product marketers warn of imminent price hikes following the continued closure of private depots across the country. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, said operators have been unable to lift products from depots since last week due to the ongoing NUPENG strike against alleged anti-union practices at Dangote refinery. Depot owners, who rely heavily on tanker drivers for product evacuation, have kept their facilities short, triggering supply shortages that are already being felt in major cities such as Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. IPMAN officials caution that if the impasse is not resolved quickly, pump prices could rise as scarcity worsens. Some filling stations in the capital and southwest states are already selling above the official pump price, with queues reappearing in several locations. The federal government has appealed to NUPENG and Dangote refinery to return to the negotiating table after a marathon meeting convened to resolve the crisis ended in deadlock. Analysts warn that prolonged disruptions could cripple economic activity, raise inflation, and further strain households already grappling with high living costs. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
Police in Abuja have opened an investigation after a lifeless body was discovered in a car at the National Assembly complex, sparking security concerns. Let's hear Daniel on this development.
The Federal Capital Territory Police Command has launched an investigation after the lifeless body of an unidentified man was discovered in a vehicle parked at the National Assembly car park near the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation in Abuja. The corpse was found slumped in the backseat of a red Peugeot 406 bearing registration number BWR577BF. According to police reports, the man is suspected to be a laborer at a nearby construction site within the National Assembly premises. Authorities describe the body as being in an advanced state of decomposition, necessitating evacuation to the morgue for identification and autopsy. The discovery in such a prominent and secure location raises serious security concerns. Investigators are treating the case with high priority as the circumstances surrounding the man's death and presence in that specific vehicle remain unclear. Reporting for PS News, Daniel Okejeme.
Traffic chaos hit Lagos this morning as residents of Oworonshoki blocked the third mainland bridge protesting demolitions that left families displaced and business destroyed. Here's the report from our studio. Commuters in Lagos were stranded this morning after angry residents of Oworonshoki blocked the third mainland bridge in protest over ongoing demolitions in their community. The demonstration, which began at dawn, saw protesters occupy the busy highway, disrupting vehicular movement and leaving thousands stuck in traffic. Eyewitnesses say motorists were forced to turn back while commercial activities around the area came to a halt. According to the residents, the demolition of houses and shops in Oworonshoki has left many families homeless and businesses destroyed. They accused the Lagos state government of failing to provide alternatives or adequate notice before carrying out the exercise. Security operatives, including police officers, were quickly deployed to the scene to disperse the protesters and restore order. However, tension remained high as residents vowed to continue resisting what they described as unfair displacement. The Lagos state government is yet to issue an official statement on the protest or the demolition exercise. For now, the third mainland bridge, Lagos' busiest traffic artery, remains under close watch as stranded commuters count their losses from the disruption. Reporting for PS News, Oluwatosin Deba. Britain has clarified its stance on the Gaza war, stopping short of labeling Israel's actions as genocide, despite mounting global pressure. Joycelyn is on the international desk.
Britain has clarified its position on the ongoing war in Gaza, stating it has not reached a legal determination that Israel's military actions amount to genocide. In a statement, the UK government acknowledged the scale of civilian suffering in Gaza, but emphasized that only international courts have the authority to make such a declaration. London said its priority remains pressing for an immediate humanitarian pause, unrestricted aid delivery, and renewed efforts towards a two-state solution. The clarification comes amid growing calls from human rights groups and opposition lawmakers urging the UK to take a firmer stance against what they describe as disproportionate military action. Critics argue that London risks being seen as complicit by failing to explicitly condemn Israel's conduct. Meanwhile, allies in the European Union are divided, with some countries pushing for stronger accountability measures, while others, like Germany, maintain that Israel has the right to defend itself. For now, Britain walks a diplomatic tightrope, balancing its historic support for Israel with increasing pressure to respond to global outrage over Gaza's humanitarian crisis. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
It's another busy day in the world of sports, with the Super Eagles gearing up for a crucial World Cup qualifier, big managerial changes in the Premier League, and FIFA's hammer looming over South Africa. Sam takes it from here.
The Super Eagles are braced for a high-stake 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against South Africa at the Toyota Stadium in Bloemfontein. Captain William Trust Ekon assured fans the team would play with confidence and composure. He dismissed any arrogance, insisting their previous AFCON victory is history and stressed respect for South Africa. Nigeria's coach Eric Chell believes his side can grab the needed point after a morale-boosting 1-0 win over Rwanda. Meanwhile, Nigeria High Commissioner Tope Ajayi urged the team to show courage, predicting victory. Former Super Eagles captain Sunday Olise has warned that South Africa cannot escape FIFA punishment for fielding an ineligible player in their 2026 World Cup qualifier against Lesotho. Bafana currently leading Group C with 16 points, but their advantage could vanish if FIFA rules that midfielder Tebo Mokoena, who was due to serve a suspension after 2 yellow cards, was wrongly fielded in March clash. Olise, speaking on Instagram, said the rules are clear. If a team fields an ineligible player and a protest is upheld, the penalty is a 3-0 defeat and a loss of 3 points. If enforced, South Africa would drop to 13 points, while Lesotho would gain 3, tightening the qualification race. Nottingham Forest has confirmed Anga Postecoglou as head coach, replacing Nuno Espirito Santo after a 3-0 defeat to West Ham. Postecoglou, fresh from his Europa League triumph with Spurs, is seen as a major coup for Forest. Known for attacking flair and player development, he now inherits a squad bolstered by new signings. Nuno's strained relationship with the club owner and recent poor results sealed his fate despite a 7th-place finish last season. Forest face Arsenal next, with Postecoglou eyeing a winning debut. This is Samuel Akman for PS News.
And that's the bulletin for today. I am Oluwatosin Deba. Good evening.
You just watched PSN Newsrun, streaming exclusively on YouTube. This is your trusted voice for news that matters. Subscribe, like, share, and stay informed.